Hi guys, welcome back to Shenanigans and More. This is your psycho host, Psycho Alex, with a new wig. Ta-da! And I'm also melting my face off because it is super hot in California. I know, not as hot as other places. I understand that, but it is super hot for Californians, okay? We're dying. But how is everybody doing? Woo! 4th of July passed and we're all super happy and we have no real holidays until Halloween. Woo woo! Well, that it depends, of course. If you're Mexican, you are excitedly waiting for el verdadero día de la independencia, September. Okay. Now I'm just kind of trying to see what I can. You guys can see my corner. Anyways, so today's episode is actually a very interesting one. And that's why I kind of decided to dress like Storm. Do I look alike? Just kidding. So for today's episode, we're gonna be talking about what I mentioned last, and that was death and all of its runs. And that by that I meant the stages of grieving that one goes through when we lose someone. And 2020 happened. Ignore the sweaty glossy look. But 2020 happened and more than one of us has lost more than one member, friend, loved one, even if it wasn't due to COVID. So I do have shit, I just thought about it. I didn't write their names down. I'm sorry, this week's has been tough. But I have friends who want to dedicate this episode, so I'm dedicating this episode to all of those friends who mentioned to me who they lost someone this year or the year before, due to COVID or not. But death, it's hit hard in my family. And that's actually kind of the main reason why I even started doing the podcast in the first place, was because they were young, but they were not young enough, I guess you could say, to not have lived a full life, which they did, and they got to enjoy their lives. They got to have children and see their lives progress, which is totally awesome. But I have some friends who their family members or loved ones did not, and did not get to enjoy it as much as my family members who passed away did. And nonetheless, it's a loss, and that's kind of what I want this episode to be about. I've mentioned suicide before, and that's another cause why a lot of people have lost someone. And it's a hard conversation to have in the first place. It's once you are a friend who lost someone, in all of courses of life and in all of types of loss, whether they were loved ones or friends, or you still love your friends, right? But whether for family members or friends who were loved, or partners, or past relationships, they still hurt, and there's still like a place. They're still in a place in our hearts, and so it's very difficult to go through that, and also to go through that for the first time. In a way, I feel like we've all kind of known people who have passed away, but never really like hit home, or like it doesn't make you acknowledge that you're losing someone or you've lost someone. Like I remember, I don't know. I remember I was, I want to say 6 years old, the first time I went to a funeral, and I didn't understand it. Or a viewing. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know why the lady was crying so much, or to understand why Um, everybody was in black. Um, and the person who passed away was old to me, so I didn't understand what I was so sad about. And so that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today, is that regardless of the stage in life your family or loved one or friend was in, regardless of like or loss, regardless of it all, you lose someone, your life changes. There's different things that are happening, going on all at the same time, that you don't understand why or how. You may feel confused, you may feel completely empty. um Even if you have a daily life, even if you get to continue working through your job and waking up every morning and doing your routine, like, that still doesn't mean that you're not mourning, or that you're not grieving, and that you're not sad, and that you're not upset about it. So that's kind of the reason why I wanted to make this episode. This is mostly for me, to be honest. I I lost my grandfather in 2016, and that was a very closest death to me that I had. I lost a friend due to gun violence, who he had nothing to do with what was going on the street, and he got shot. My dear friend, I used to call him my brother, my big brother, Johnny. And I lost a very, very close friend whom I loved very deeply. And that one still kind of hurts. Due to a motorcycle accident. And I lost quite recently my aunt, whom I was really close to, even though we were miles away because she lived in Mexico. And I lost my grandma, who was my other mom. I promised I wasn't gonna cry. And I lost my other aunt, all from my mom's side, quite recently as well. And everything was super sudden, and it had nothing to do with COVID. It had to do with their sicknesses that they already had. It runs in our family for us to have diabetes. And so they were sick, but nonetheless they were young. Nonetheless, they had a whole life still to live, and it was hard. It's been hard, trying to make this podcast while I was trying to mourn them, and trying to be strong for my mom, has been quite a journey. But this is not really about, it is about me, but this is what I want you guys to understand. I'm using myself as my story, and my story for you guys to understand. I'm not crying, I'm just so hot with this wig. I'm about to throw it out. I just want you guys to understand, that we're all going through it. It's something that's happening. It's something that, it's affecting all of us. It's if you feel like you're being weird and you don't understand why in the middle of the night you're waking up crying, like it's normal. It's something that you're going through because you're suppressing all your emotions through the day just so you can go through the day. You don't understand why you're going off at your boyfriend or at your girlfriend. It's the emotions that we're not going through and understanding and just like processing, and it's perfectly normal. What shouldn't be normal is to hold them in and don't let them out, because it can lead to other things. So you guys, I know I'm gonna start with going to therapy, and you guys hate it, I know, but if you can talk to someone, whether, like we said before, it's a stranger, and you vomit your emotions too, and you cry while you're in the subway, or if you decide that you want to go to therapy and try therapy, most definitely try that, and hang out with the grieving counselor. They can even be a group thing, you know, people who have lost certain people in certain types of things. I know that there's um, daughters against drunk driving or something like that. I don't really know, don't quote me, I didn't look it up, I'm sorry. But I know that there is some help in certain groups and stuff that you can most definitely find. um so death, you know, I feel like it's such a taboo, especially with our culture, with us Hispanic Central Americans and stuff. Like, we don't get to talk about it enough. We don't get to, we have rituals and we have um ceremonies and celebrations and all that stuff, like Day of the Dead, but we don't get to explain to a child or to a young adult when growing up what death means. We're not even allowed to say that we're gonna die one day, even though that's the only certainty that we have. We're gonna fucking die, you guys. So I want to take whatever I have time, whatever time I have right now, to share it with you guys and understand that it's something that is gonna happen. That is the only thing that we have for certain. We are gonna die. And it's okay if you are scared. And it's okay that it's happening, because hopefully you're doing the best you can to live it to the fullest, to live it as long as you can, to take care of your body and go and enjoy everything you can while we still got time. Okay? Now, one of the things that I experienced myself, I cannot speak for anybody else, you know, is that it was such a surprise. We had been talking about my grandfather and my grandmother being old and that was gonna happen, you know, but then my friend died. And my friend was my age. You know, he took care of his body, he took care of his family, his sanity. He was a very good athletic person and worked out and all this stuff and ate properly and everything you can fucking think of. And he had a car accident, a motorcycle accident. Now, shit fucking happens, you guys. Whether you think you have it set because you're young and that one extra beer is not gonna be noticeable by a police if you get pulled over, fucking God forbid, you're gonna run a fucking street light, or you're gonna go on the freeway and you won't even fucking, and it may not even have to do with you being drinking and hanging out. It might be that you're driving properly and a person who's drinking cuts you off and something happens, you know, like we don't even know. We won't even fucking know. That is the craziest part, is that I used to always think of death that it was gonna happen eventually, when probably most of my hair would look like this. You know, where I would be old and I'll be in a deathbed, you know, but I don't know that. That's the truth, you know, and experiencing loss of people who I cared so much about gave me that view that I only have today. We only have today. You know, when I wake up in the morning, it may be my last day. So I try to do the best I can. I try to help as many people I can. I try to have the best day I can. You know, sometimes we wake up in a grouchy mood already and we're already so done with this fucking day and we're already so done with this fucking life. But it may be the only one we have left, you guys. So we have to take advantage and we have to take care of ourselves and make sure that that last day we live it to the fucking fullest. Okay? It is such a taboo, like I said. We don't talk about it enough. We're not even allowed to think about what happens. And that was one of the things that I also wanted to talk about. My friends don't know, but they're gonna find out just now. I decided to have a little letter telling my dear loved ones what I want for my funeral. And I for a second I psyched myself out thinking that oh my god, I'm like planning my death, and what if like this causes me to call death over and be like, I'm ready. But I'm not thinking about it that way. I'm thinking about it as I want whoever may be around when I go to know that I don't want you guys crying. I don't want you guys. I mean, you're gonna cry because you're gonna be sad because this awesome fucking person is gonna be gone. I'm awesome. I get that. I'm just kidding. but I don't want you guys to be depressed. I don't want you guys to be sad where you stop eating. I want you guys to remember that I fucking want you to look amazing. That I fucking want you to live that last day or that day or every day that you have to the motherfucking fullest, because you're gonna know that I lived it to the fullest, that I did the best I could to live it to the fullest. Okay? That I went and had sex because I didn't know if I was gonna get any more, and that was gonna be the last time I had sex. You best believe that's one of the things that I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna want you guys to do for sure, 100%. Go have sex with that boy, that girl, that person you've been craving and you've been trying to ask out. Go get it, enjoy it, because I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna want you to remember that you have to live for me now. And that's the way I want you guys to look at it, when I go. As my friends and as my loved ones and as people who cared about me, I want you guys to do that. If you loved me, fucking enjoy it. If you fucking were my partner at some point in my life, you're gonna tell all the craziest stories that I did to you or that you did to me, and that is what I want. I want everybody to remember me and talk about me and tell my stories and tell them how crazy I was talking all the time about sex and being horny, and how I wanted all of you guys to experience an orgasm. Girls deserve to have, and that's gonna be, I want that in a fucking banner, on my fucking funeral or viewing. I want you guys to remember that you have to drink, you have to have fun, you have to laugh, you have to enjoy every day you have left, because whether I go first or not, I want you guys to tell stories about me and laugh and remember that if you loved me, I loved you too. And oh yeah, and I want there to be music. Everybody must be dancing. I want there to be my favorite flower Alcatrazes. They're not really called Alcatrazes in English, but they're called Alcatraz in Espanol. Okay. I want you guys to have that. Oh my god, my makeup is getting ruined because I'm so sweaty. I'm sorry. I want everybody to dress up like a zombie just in case I come back to life. Y'all ain't gonna freak out. Okay? So no, for real, bullshit aside, I want everybody to dress up. Have fun. My birthday's in Halloween, pre-Halloween and Halloween month, and I always throw my Halloween parties, and I always love, even though nobody shows up. Shh, don't tell them. But I want you guys to have fun. I want you guys to remember me. I want you guys to dance. I want you guys to play the loudest music and enjoy it. And I want to be cremated, in case I didn't tell anybody that. I want to be cremated, but just make sure I'm dead. Like, dead. I don't want to burn and cry. But besides that, yes, I want to be cremated, and not just because it's cheaper, because, it's cheaper. But because I want to be planted. I want to be a part of a tree, because I'm obsessed with trees. I haven't got my tree tattoo, but I will soon. I'm obsessed with trees, and I want to be able to have, let me show you guys my amethyst tree. See? Trees. I'm going to put this right here, because trees. And I want to be in the trees. I want to be a part of it. I want to fucking nurture something, make my fucking death and my body be good for something, like nurture a fucking tree. And also I would love to have spread out some of my ashes, my thigh side, because it's a little big. That one can be thrown into the ocean, because that's everybody who knows me knows that that's where I go for peace, where I like to relax. And I'm a Scorpio, so just water, flow, got the emotions and all the in the oceans. So yeah, that's kind of what I want, and I'm gonna have proof. That's what I want. And then all my body parts that are like, functional, I want them to be donated. I want to live through other people, who want to keep going and who deserve to keep going. And so, whatever parts of me can be donated, most definitely we're gonna donate those shits. Okay. All right. So that's the part about the death that I want you guys to understand, and maybe give you guys a little bit of time to think about it. Maybe you have never even thought about death, and like your family doesn't allow you to talk about it or ask about it. I've always been super curious. Also, did you guys know that Scorpio's tarot card thing is death? Because we forever go into changing. We're always changing, always trying to evolve, always trying to do something different. So yeah, might explain the craziness. But yeah, most definitely, think about it. Think about what you want. And I mean, I'm a fucking control freak. And I'm most definitely, gonna want to put my noses in my own planning. So yeah, you guys, shout out to my friends, Angela, Shania, Jessica, Karina, you guys all, if you guys survived me, just watch this video, tell my mama what I want if I survive my mama. And my brother, I love you, and you guys can honor me this way, make me part of a tree, and make me, throw me into the ocean so I could forever live in the water, because that's what I like. But yeah, so the friends of death are the stages of grief. Now, they're always a little bit of everything. I think there's 7 officially, but I just got the first 5 that I know, sorta. So, denial is one of them. Anger is one of them. Bargaining, I didn't really understand this one until I actually looked it up. Depression and acceptance. Okay? And denial is so easy when it first happens, but oftentimes people go through it for a longer time. Being in complete shock that you're in denial that it's even happening. I think that was kind of one of the things that I and my mom kind of went through, just because we're so far away from our family members. So, they live in Mexico. We live in the United States. We couldn't fly out to go see them for their last time. And luckily we have technology, so we did get to view them through cameras and pictures and live streams and video calls. But it was just as hard, because I still feel, it's been 5 years, and I still feel like I'm gonna go to Mexico, and my grandpa and my grandma are gonna be right there waiting for me, picking me up at the airport when I finally go. Okay? And so I feel like, in a sense, that's me being in denial that, they're not gone, and that I'm still gonna be able to go over there and see them. But there can be many ways of denial when you actually just complete denial, where you don't acknowledge that they're even gone, and it's hard. It's most definitely hard, and it's part of the process. If you get stuck in any of these stages, I feel like you should seek for help, whether it's your friends, your parents, your family, your sister, your brother, someone you trust, a friend, a total stranger even, that you just want to like open up to and stuff. go ahead and do that. Strangers with safety, okay? But it's really something to think about and to look. If you see your family members or loved ones that cannot accept the death of someone, or someone being gone, this past year and a half, something to think about and something to look at. Okay. um One of my family members is in super denial to the point that he didn't even go to Mexico by choice. Not like me, who couldn't. And they're just like, I can't do anything about it. And he's not wrong, but I feel that it's not even it's not even like actual fact that he can't do anything about it. It's just that it was a denial that he couldn't accept that his mom was gone. Okay. Now, anger is the other one. Anger is super crazy because it actually happened to my, we're not going to talk about it, but it actually happened to someone I know. I'm not going to give you anybody's name. But I paid for that one. He couldn't accept the fact that his mom was gone, so he was just angry at everyone. And it was part of anger, and part of angry at me, and part of angry at like everyone around me, around him. Um and it took a minute. I had to tell him, you have to go to therapy, otherwise you're going to make me lose my mind, because I'm not doing anything to you. I'm not hurting you. Not even what I'm saying it for you to get upset, and you're getting upset with me. So you must do something about it. You must face and accept what's going on. Anger can be long lasting too. It could be somewhere where you're like so tied to denial, where you're still like, it's not happening, it's not real, they're not gone, and you're stuck there. But anger can be a little bit more crazy and more risky for you to be hurting anyone else, or for you to hurt someone, just verbally, by your own being upset and your anger and all the issues that you're trying to deal with. So again, seek help if you are facing this. It is totally normal. I'm not saying that you can't go through it, but it is affecting, if it's affecting your work, your life, your loved ones, your family members, your friends, like, it's something that you may need to take a look at. Okay. Now, bargaining was something that was really interesting to me, because I couldn't really quite understand what they meant. I mean, I know what bargaining means, but it actually just kind of means like, you don't have to necessarily be a devout, to any religion, but a lot of people sometimes, oftentimes become devout to the religion, or become devout to certain things, ask for it trading, so trade off. They decide that they want to no longer quit drinking. If they want to quit drinking, they praise and they promise to God, or to their own religion, to their families, that they're gonna quit. They're gonna quit their behavior, or they're gonna quit drinking, or they're gonna quit something, smoking, anything, or that they're gonna become devout to religion, or to their family, or to things, which is not necessarily wrong if you think about it, especially if it gives them a benefit. But the crazy part about it is that it will not bring your loved one back. It may help you feel better. It may help you feel like, for those of those people who believe they'll go to heaven, maybe they want to sacrifice their own things to allow their loved one's soul to go to heaven. But that's the thing that you're going through. That won't have anything to do, unless you believe in that. I don't know. I could be just talking out of my ass, but that's kind of what it is with bargaining, where though people will actually become devout to someone or to some religion. or do certain things that they want to dedicate their lives to in order for them, their loved ones, to be saved or to stay alive. um but it's it doesn't really work that way, I think, but that's just my opinion. But that's another stage of grief. And the other one is depression. um this is actually one that is quite common, where most people get stuck at, which is I showed you guys my whole arm, because it's really hot. um with grieving. So depression is one of the things that is the hardest to get out of, I think. Because sometimes you could be a functioning depressed person. You can still go to work every day, you can still hate your life and hate that you don't have your loved one with you anymore, whether they were your support system, whether they were, a parent, an economic support for you, anything and everything, but that person that you lost most definitely changed your life while for them being gone. And you know people get depressed when their loved ones and friends commit suicide, and sometimes they hit so hard they don't understand the reason why that happened or why they decided to do that. And it's a very difficult topic to talk about in the first place. But just talking about how one thing can lead to someone else's depression is it's where this one for sure I feel like people need to seek out help. Find someone who they can talk to, someone they trust, someone they something they can help you, something that can help you, not just get out of depression, but understand the stages of grief that you're going through, and understand that they're perfectly normal, and understand that it's something that happens when you lose someone, especially like I said, when you go through it for the very first time. um this one wasn't my first time, right? But they were so consecutive, they were back to back, and they were so surprising because they, one minute they were healthy, obviously they weren't, right, because they were passed away from their own sickness, but they were perfectly fine, they had no complications, they were not hospitalized, and then the next they were gone. And so it was definitely something difficult to go through, and that's me personally. But recently, friends of mine lost their cousin, their favorite cousin. I don't want to mispronounce her name, my love. I'm sorry, but I totally forgot to write it down. But this one goes out to my friend's cousin, who was a beautiful girl, and I didn't unfortunately get to meet her, but she was a beautiful girl, and she had seizures, and that's kind of what led to her death. And it's completely out of control. And it happened while she was asleep, so there was no way of trying to save her or doing anything, and that's kind of what happens when you lose someone. You feel whether it was a perfect situation where you could help them and they didn't get saved, like my aunts, they one of them had a stroke, and so she was sleeping. She was hanging out with the family. She decided to go to bed, and she wasn't feeling too well, and she was sleeping or going to sleep when she had the stroke. And she lived for a couple of days, but there was no guarantee that she was gonna get to live. She was gonna be alive through a machine, but she wasn't gonna get to live. And all of us kind of sat there and felt like there was no way to save, there was no way to help. And that's what I mean, there was nowhere where we could have done anything that would make a difference. And so I feel like that's where the depression thing leads to, where you're just so feel so like, if I was there, I could have done something. If I sent the money, I could have done something. If someone would have reacted faster, you know. But at the end of the day, it's a part of life, you know. And I feel that if we talked more about it being a part of life, it wouldn't be so hard. It would still be hard, but it wouldn't be so surprising. It wouldn't just take you out of your perfect little world and think that that's never gonna happen to you, and make you realize that every day is a fucking gift. Okay? And finally, acceptance. You know, finally, we have to come to terms with that, with the idea that at the end of the day, that's where we're all headed. At the end of the day, some of us may get there faster than others. And at the end of the day, it's part of the process. It's part of the process of being alive. It's part of the process of living. We have these bodies, you can sort of say rented out, you know, for a lifetime. And that may mean 90 years. That may mean 30. You know, and we have it. Let's take advantage while we have it. Let's appreciate what we have, that we are able to see colors, that we are able to see rainbows, that we are able to breathe Luna's pee-pee. That we're able to breathe flowers and smell them, and we're able to smell oceans, and we are able to taste our favorite ice cream and taste our favorite burgers. After COVID, I was so upset. Not upset. During COVID, I was upset. After COVID, I was so obsessed with trying everything and having all the flavors in my mouth, because when you don't have all of your senses, you feel crazy. You know, it's so crazy how much the sense of taste and smell can affect your life. It was mind blowing to me, you know. We have the abilities to touch and all of these beautiful things that we take for granted, like walking, you know, taking care of our feet and all these things. So I sound like a freaking hippie now. No offense to hippies. But what I'm saying is, we have to take advantage of the time we have. Death is the only certainty we have. Grief and all of these stages that we can go through are perfectly normal and are something that are happening to someone, all of us, some of us, most of us, because of COVID, because of 2019, 2020 being, you know, a crazy year, because of accidents, because of life. It's a part of it, you know, and we just have to figure out where we fit in all this thing called life and enjoy what we have. All right? So I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to sound like a hippie. No disrespect. But you know, this entire episode is going to be dedicated to all of my friends who have lost someone during 2020 or 2021, COVID or no COVID. I love you guys, and I love anyone who you have lost, and I am so sorry for your loss. And if you're feeling any of these feelings, or any of are stuck in any of the stages, you know you can count on me. You can IGM message me, or you can, if you have my number or whatever, Facebook, you can find me. But understand, it's a part of the process. It's a part of the process, and we're gonna go through it, okay? And we can go through it together, or you can find someone who can help you, and most definitely help you go through it, okay? Now, just don't forget, go ahead and get that thumbs up if you like this video, or if you like any of my following videos. Go ahead and subscribe, ding, and share me with your friends, you guys. We might be able, this is a very dark, gothy topic, I apologize, but I feel like it was something we don't talk about enough, especially in our culture. So let's talk about it, okay? And let's accept it and understand it. Anyways, back to the topics. shout out to New York. Woo woo! You know, you're the guy who said he was watching my videos. My dear friend who is making an art piece of me. If you have me on Instagram, I probably already shared it, but he's still working on other stuff, and I told him I would be his model. But shout out to New York, shout out to Romania, because maybe, just maybe, my friend over here, who I just made recently, might be watching our podcast. Yay! So tell your friends, you guys. I know I dress up silly, I do silly things, I talk about grimy things. I know it's dark and mysterious and scary, but it's the truth. It's life. It's what we gotta talk about. Okay. Now, if you like any of my shenanigans, please like, please subscribe, and also share my videos and tell people about my crazy as your psycho host, Psycho Alex, from Shenanigans and more. I love you guys so much. Enjoy. Did you guys see my Q-tip? Enjoy life. Live every day to the fullest. Kiss that person you want to kiss. Go have sex and get jiggy with it. Use protection. Unless you're trying to get pregnant. What is it called? Tell your loved ones you love them. Kiss them. Take advantage. Taste what you want to taste. Please believe me. You don't want to not have your taste buds. Smell whatever you want to smell. And enjoy the things that we are sometimes taking for granted. Enjoy, but please live life to your fullest. This has been Psycho Alice with Shenanigans and More. And till next time. Bye.